Okay, so welcome back to the restoration of this Bedford ambulance. As you can see, I've just got it nestled into this homemade little cradle, from a pillar drill vise. I'm just going to put the transfers on now. I'm going to get my son Alexander just to hold the camera, because this is a two-hand job. So Alexander, just come forward a minute and just hold that, just so that you can see what I'm doing. So I've got the transfers here. What I'm going to do is just very gently soak them in the water first of all. Don't need a lot of water. Just let them soak just for a few seconds into the water. You see the backing paper absorb the water pretty quickly. The thing is, if you leave them on too long, leave them in the water too long, they come out and end up floating in the water. Yeah, sorry, that beep into the tumble dryer. So hopefully within a few seconds these transfers should be ready. So I'm just going to apply some water actually on the water itself, on the model itself. This does help with the transfer of the model. So you can just see a few dots of water going on. So if I just hold the transfer now and very gently with the paintbrush try and move it, try and get some. No, it's still not quite there, I don't think. So what I will do is very gently with my finger, it's just give it a bit of a. These are so fragile, they can actually break very, very easily if you're not careful. So there's the tumble dryer going again. Please start me. Right, here we go. So it's starting to move now. So what I'm going to do is with the paintbrush is get the transfer, move to the bottom. Ooh, oh hello, see, they wrinkle up so easily. This could go horribly wrong if I'm not careful now. This could ruin the transfer. So I'm trying to grip. There we go, so just pull that off like that. Now, unfortunately the E is tucked in under itself. Oh, no. So this is how it can go wrong so horribly. These are so thin, these transfers, you've really got to be so careful.
Oh.
Yeah, oh. There we go. So if I just flatten that out a little bit. Now this needs moving down.
Yeah, for some reason on the other model, the one that you have over there, the stickers look a little bit thicker.
Yeah, because they're made out of paper. So I just need to gently pull this down and this up. Just keep applying water just to stop them from wrinkling up. Right. Now, I've just noticed, I thought these transfers, these are a little bit thinner, as you can see, between the two. The font is slightly smaller. These stickers do actually, the original ones, actually look a bit bigger. So I'm not that bothered at the moment, because they seem to be going on pretty well.
Yeah, it
They're
looks
as
good.
straight as possible. I'm not going to get too worried about contact the company saying, oh look, your transfers aren't quite big enough, because I'm just going to have to grit my teeth and bear it. Now with this, it's going to just soak up any excess water, just get it from underneath the transfer. So you've got to be very careful, because the slightest wrong move can see, like that, because there's still water under the transfer. That has now pushed that up. There we go, just correct that a little bit better, and just press that down and just squeegee some of this water out.
It's going off again.
Yeah, it's mummy neglecting her duties.
It's over there.
Right. Keep it on the model, Alex. Right, so that's not too bad. As you can see by an original one, I haven't got a lot of room to work with. Between the gap of the red cross and the top of the M on the ambulance, it's a, well, it's like I say, it's a bigger sticker, this one. It would have been nice just to have another couple of mil just to play with, but that is not going to get any better.
It's pretty smart.
It's looking pretty good,
I like
considering
it.
they're very fragile. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do the other side. I shan't bore you with the details of that. You've seen how they do go on and how difficult it can be, but with a little bit of patience and a steady hand, it's on. Now, as you can also see with the colour, it's not far off the original colour. I mean, this is dirty as well. This has been Christ knows where. So with that can of spray I did actually use, I think the colour match is pretty good. So what I'm going to do now is just thank you, Alexander, take over and also show you that the doors are painted. They came out really well. There's the right one. No, this is the left one. That used to be the white metal reproduction. Again, it's come really close to being a perfect colour match. Little bit of paint chipped off there, but I can touch that up with a brush afterwards. But I'm really excited that this model's going to look pretty good when it's finished. So I'm just making sure all the water is actually being pushed out. Sorry, get the camera on the... There. Looking pretty good. So I'm going to do the other side and then we'll get back to fitting the doors. Righty ho, so as you can see, got both sides on, looking pretty good. Would like to have seen the transfers be just a tad bigger. That way they would have gone on a little bit better, but object of the game now is to try and get this thing put back together. And then what I'm going to do is, with a little bit of chrome silver paint, as with this other one I've got, there's a little bit of detail there on the front grille. So I shall use both hands to put the doors back on the reconstruction, the restoration of the model. And my assistant Alexander's gone off to play Fortnite at the moment, so I can't show you how to do it. So I think it's going to be a bit fiddly. So we'll hopefully the next time we see this model, the doors are going to be resituated as to where they should be. Okay, so what I've done is I've managed to get the doors on, looking really good. I've used a tiny bit of gel super glue. Now I swear by this stuff, it is a really good super glue, unlike some of these cheap super glues you get in pound shops and local discount stores. If you want a good industrial strength super glue, this is brilliant. I've been using it now for several months, and this bottle was about, I don't know, £5, but expensive, yeah, but it's a good size. 15-gram bottle, lovely. It's a nice viscous gel, doesn't run everywhere, doesn't dribble everywhere. Shake it and it's got a handy little feature in the cap. If I can get the lid off again, where, you know, most of them end up getting blocked. This has actually got a little, I don't know if you can actually see that, a little needle in the top of the cap that situates itself back into the nozzle of the super glue itself, into the tube, to stop it from getting all congealed. And what I actually used was this old eye instrument that they use for in the side of the eyes for inserting cataract lenses, new lenses. As you know, I worked in a hospital, and I just use that as a little palette knife just to spread this glue on the inside of the pillar and let it dry, and then we just popped a little bit on top of there. This will just get touched up with a little bit of emery cloth and some paint, and you won't know it's even been there. So it's still drying at the moment. What you could do as well is what I do sometimes if I've had to drill a little bit deeper. This one came out really easily. Is to make a really good bond is use baking soda. Super glue and baking soda is absolutely wonderful stuff. If I just show you now, it's good as a filler as well. Pop a little bit of the gel on there. See just how viscous that is. That is not going anywhere. It's just really good consistency. You can actually pull it up. Tiny little pinch of baking soda on top of the super glue. It absorbs it really well, and when it goes hard, it goes hard within seconds. I'm already, that is pretty, you can hear that. It forms almost like a plastic, and that is solid. So as a filler, you can use it bonding plastics together. You get like a fine line between the two ends you've bonded. If you dribble some baking soda on it, blow that off now, just mix it in, and now you can actually see it's dried, like I say, it dries within seconds. That is as hard as the plastic itself. I don't know what the chemical reaction is, but when it bonds with the super glue, it is absolutely rock hard. And oh, there you go. That's just, yeah, that is solid. That's just a bit of excess. Yep, I'm happy with that. That's a little hint for using super glue and baking soda. Obviously give it a little bit longer to dry. The more you use, the stronger it gets. Now I'm more than happy with the way this has gone, this model. Yeah, still a little bit tacky, but that's going to dry pretty well. But for the rest of the model, that's more or less it. Apart from touching up the inside, the bottom half of that door that somehow got chipped. You've got to be careful with these things. That's the new door. Again, I'm trying to do this with one hand. That pulls out. And that is it. That is the ambulance fully restored. And it is looking whiz. Apart from doing the front grille silver, which I'm now going to do. Now I could spend a little bit of extra time. What I was thinking of doing is the windows here, on both of them. So as it comes, originally back in the 60s, no one's bothered detailing it much. It's quite a fine detail there to let you know there's a window, and probably that's some sort of vented, like a roof part in there, let light in. I don't know if you can actually see, that's a bit glary. But I was going to actually highlight them with silver paint. These little roof areas here, these little indentations. I was going to highlight them with silver paint as I was the windows, but it's going to be a little bit tricky and a little bit messy, and I don't want to get it really customised. I just want to have it as original as possible. So with the doors shut, I am really satisfied with that. Obviously this door is the original one. This is the new one. The new one does fit really well as expected, and it's a good match. So what I'm going to do now is just get some silver paint out, and what I tend to use is a Tamiya paint. It's XF, no it's not that one, I lie, it's X11 chrome silver. Really good paint, so I'll give it a bit of a shake, and then I'm going to get on and paint it. Now my brush, I broke my detailed one somehow the other day, managed to sit on it, so I'm going to have to use, I think that's the smallest one I've got, so I'm going to use this one. Yeah, because it's smaller than that one. Well, I think so. This is the smallest brush I've got at the moment, so I'm going to have to use this one. So when we come back to it, we should actually see the final details applied to the truck now. Ambulance more like. So I've just done the last finishing touches to the paintwork on the front. As you can see, nice chrome bumper, grille, and I've done the headlights. All looking pretty good. Almost back to its original condition. The original one did have a chrome bumper, but it's just been worn off with play. At some point this probably will get restoration. Need 2 new doors for this one. Again, the base is pretty good. Matchbox Lesney certainly knew how to make these toys pretty much indestructible, apart from the flimsy doors on the back. Obviously those little hinges that were inserted into these little slits weren't quite man enough, and some young lad, it's probably, or even a young girl, has pulled them off. So this is probably going to be a future one, which I'll probably give to my eldest. I might actually try and find some better transfers, because the ones that I bought, the water slide ones, I'm not really that happy with, but they'll do. As you can see, they were originally white paper transfers that have gone yellow over age, whereas these water slide ones, when the camera decides to focus, water slide, smaller font, not 100%, but as best as I can get it. So for display purposes, a really nice little model that works a treat. So hopefully I shall be doing this sort of thing again, and if anybody's got any questions, then please ask. Like I said, this is a budget restoration. You don't need all sorts of fancy stuff for this. Cheap paints, cheap enough models. I don't spend a lot on these. Went to a shop yesterday where a guy was looking at £4 for one of these. Again, it was missing one of the doors. I picked both of these up, had a car boot sale for about 20p each. Obviously right place, right time, but you don't have to spend an incredible amount of money on them. Again, on Facebook, you can go to the marketplace. Sometimes people sell these on there, or eBay. And eBay, again, once you pay for postage and packaging, it can turn out to be pretty expensive unless you buy them in a job lot. But car boot sales, I tend to buy these. People have had them for years. They have a clear out. You find them in trays, bundles of literally a few pounds. I picked up, I think it was 10 altogether for a £5. So yeah, you divide that, it's pretty cheap. Again, you don't need expensive equipment. Hobby shop vices for a couple of pounds. Car boot sale, I think I paid about £3 for this. A vintage vice for some of the heavier metal work. Little anvil plate on the back there. Screw fix, pillar drill vice. Car boot sale again, £4. Acts as a pillar drill with a basic corded drill. I've had this drill donkey's years, probably about 20 years. Easy hobby to get into, so if you're interested, if you know who I am, get in contact with me. Leave a message. Please feel free to share, like and subscribe if you're interested. There's a lot of people out there doing this sort of thing. I'm trying to show you that you can do it on a relative budget. Obviously you will need to get set up for this sort of thing. It's great to get your kids involved with. Alexander's shown an interest, so what I might do is, even when I do this one, is get him involved, get him to spray it, and see how it turns out. But I want to find some more robust waterside transfers, as I keep telling you about, because yeah, although I'm happy with them, they could be better. So there you go. So that is the Bedford Lomas ambulance sorted, number 14, and like I said, I think it was made in the 1960s, early 60s to late 60s, and you find them everywhere. They're not that rare. People say, "Oh, this is a rare Lesney. It's cost a fortune." No, I see them all the time. The only reason I haven't bought more is because I don't really need more of them. In hindsight, I probably could use them as spares, because Lesney do use a lot of these wheels on other cars, and the axles, and if they're in pretty good condition, but the actual cab, or I've seen these with the roof's caved in, the pillars missing here. You can use the wheels and the axles for spares. I've got plenty of spares over here in my little knick-knack drawer. This is one I'm at some point going to do. It's an original 1980s Ertl General Lee. Very cheap car to produce it was for them. So that's probably going to get the restoration. There's a Union Molk here with no tyres. So what I'm going to actually do this is in military colours. That will be interesting. So I'll probably film that. And again, I'll say there's a mini there. I've already done two of these minis. I'll just keep them for spares. There's a BMC which I did restore, but my son wanted the wheels off it for another car he had. So I unrestored it, took it apart, so it's in the box for spares. There you go, they're the wheels from the chassis. He had a vintage Matchbox car which had the same wheels, but the wheels on his vintage Matchbox car were pretty trash, so I took them off this one, which were like new, and put them on his. So even new cars, what I tend to do is cannibalise them and use them for mainly the wheels that come off them. The new Hot Wheels version cars, they got some really good detailed wheels, and I put old with new sometimes. Alexander's got a 1967, I think it was, Corvette Stingray with brand new Hot Wheel wheels on, very detailed. They're a lot better than the super fast ones. So I don't mind mixing old with new. You know, they sometimes look pretty good. So I might do a video with some of the previous models I've done, which I didn't film, and just show you how you can mess around with them. There's another car. Millions of these made. I basically just took it apart for the wheels for another project. So, yep, you can mix and match Hot Wheels and Matchbox as and when you feel like it. There's an old Cortina chassis there. I'll show you if you're interested on the inside. Very simple plastic suspension there, but it worked. Runs really well. Something else I can use at a later date if I find another one that's got a busted chassis. Actually, no, that was off that's not a Cortina. Anyway, I digress. So, yep, build up your spares. I've got motorcycles here that I'm going to do at some point. Rivets, pop rivets. The stems, very handy for making chassis axles. What I do is, just take off the rivet head, slides off with a pair of pliers, and then I can use the shaft as an axle and just round off the end if the original axles for the model are broken. Plenty of rivet ends I can use. So that's it. So hopefully, if you were wondering how that ambulance turned out, there it is. So I'll probably see you in another week when I find something equally as interesting to restore. If you find this completely boring, then you don't have to watch it, do you? So thanks for watching if you did enjoy it, and if you know me, then you know that I do like to keep myself busy. And especially autumn's almost here, and then winter just around the corner. This is a great way just to chill out and to do something creative, keep the old fingers nimble and the mind working, other than sitting in front of the box watching some old rubbish on the TV. And the end product is quite satisfying to know that this used to look, actually that one was in worse condition than this one, that you can bring something back to life, and even at some point, you know, I'll pass these on to my younger children. So thank you for watching. Please like and subscribe if you feel like you want to. And like I said, there are plenty of more other people out there doing this sort of thing. So yeah, they do it a lot better than I do, and they've got a lot more expensive equipment. This is how you do it on a budget. So goodbye for now.